morning. I'm talking to Rabbi Tradberts today. Hi, Rabbi. How are you?
Good. Nice to be here.
Thanks. Rabbi, what is the first step that a person needs to take if they're considering conversion?
I'm going to speak to you about the process for conversion. I'm speaking about Orthodox conversion. This is really what I'm familiar with most. I was involved in conversions in the Toronto Beth Din. We were responsible for all the conversions done in Toronto and the surrounding area, and I was involved in that for 10 years. So when a person comes for conversion, the first thing they have to come to a rabbi, and the rabbi has to determine what stage they are in their interest. In order to convert, there's a whole process. A person, according to an Orthodox process, person has to start living as a Jewish person, keeping Jewish law, practicing Jewish religion, be committed to it intellectually as well, start to become involved in a Jewish community. So the first thing a person needs to know is what is going to be expected of me in this process. A lot of that information is available online. People can find that. But the first thing that I would do when I would speak to the person is I would want to know their journey. In other words, you're coming here today, it's taken you a long time to make this call, probably hasn't been easy. What's led to that? What is it? Is there a relationship? Is there spiritual seeking? Do you have Jewish roots? And so that's what I would want to know from the person. And I would determine based on that whether they're early stage, mid stage, end stage, where are they in this process? How far are they? Are they aware of what's expected from them? And that's where I would start in trying to guide the person in the process.
Now, I've heard that when a person first comes to speak to a rabbi about conversion, that the rabbi has to say no the first time or the first 2 or 3 times. Is there any truth in that, and what is that all about?
No. People say that. In reality, that's not done in a pro forma type way like that. We don't say, okay, that's 1, come back next week and there'll be 2. What is done is, again, I'm talking in Orthodox, is we want to make sure that we have a meeting of the minds. Meaning, you really know what you're getting into. Is this a flight of fancy? Are you, going through a stage? I remember one time a young fella came to me. He was 16 years old, and he wanted to convert from a Polish Catholic family. And I told him, I said, you're young, kids change, next year it'll be something else, and the next year something else. So I don't feel that I can help you at this point. He told me years later that made him so mad that he was determined to do it, and he actually did come back and convert. But that's the first thing. I want to help. It's not an interrogation. It's discovering together where are we in this, and is this a phase or is it mature? That's what. So we don't actually say to the person, I have to reject you 3 times. We try and discover together where they are in the process.
And once they start that conversion process, how long does it take, more or less?
So the standard which is done now, both in Israel and North America, is that a person has to live a full Jewish life for at least 1 year. Now, by full Jewish life, I mean observing the Sabbath, keeping kosher, fulfilling the requirements of Jewish law. So if the person comes and they're familiar with what that is, then they can begin that. Often a person will come, and when I say you have to keep the Sabbath, they don't know what that means. So it may take them a while to get to the point where they can start to observe the commandments. So a year is the minimum for observance, and sometimes people come and they've already been observing for 6 months. In other words, they're coming farther in the process. They were just so scared about having to actually come and meet the rabbi that they kept putting it off, but they're really quite a ways along. But that's the general thing. Observance of at least a year. And that's accompanied by study. You can't observe unless you know what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing. And then the Bet Din has to determine whether they feel the person's observance is going to be consistent, enduring, whether they're in a living situation which will allow them to continue the journey that they've begun. And that would usually be after a year.
If a young couple is engaged, are they allowed to live together while one of the parties is converting?
If they're going to ask me if they should live together, I'm going to tell them no. But if they say to me, we're living together, is that going to be a problem? The answer would be no, that's not going to be a problem. There will be a time before the actual conversion that the Bet Din will ask them to separate for a period of time. But that will not be at the first meeting or the second. That will be when they're really pretty much ready to complete the process.
Thank you. Thank you so much for talking to me today. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Bye.